There's 3 types of exercises. There's low, moderate, and vigorous. For beginners, focus on low to moderate. Okay, we're not going to get into moderate to vigorous until you are in the action and maintenance stages consistently. Those stages of change. And under vigorous activity is where you'll get the HITT workouts, which you'll see a lot on YouTube and all over the media, which stands for high intensity interval training, which is short bursts of explosive and vigorous movements. And remember also the FITT principle, which stands for frequency, intensity, time, and type of exercises. I know it's a lot of acronyms, it's a lot of abbreviations, but this is why I wanted to cram it all in this video so it's easy to reference, it's easy to find. If you need to address it, or if you need to reference anything here, it's all here, it's all timed out for you. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I want you to be able to access what you need in order to get where you need to be. To keep it as simple as possible, I used to tell my clients to pick a exercise for your legs, exercise for your push, such as a chest press, an exercise for your pull, such as your back, a row, and an exercise for your core, such as something that engages your abs or your hip flexors, anything in this region right here, just so you have that strong core and you're able to have that mobility there, which is the guideline and baseline for every other movement that you do for the most part. All right, it's time for basic program design for beginners. So it's going to seem like I'm throwing a lot of information your way, but that's because I am. So I'm going to try to not make this overwhelming and make this easy to follow, and we'll go from there. So I'm starting off here with some static stretches. Just basic stretches based on what you can do. Right? You don't have to copy what I'm doing if your body won't allow for certain movements. It's all good. It's very lax. Right? Any type of movement is better than no movement. The goal is to make this easy to follow for beginners. So if you need to hold on to something for balance. Okay, again, it's all subjective, person to person. So there's not one universal right way to do a workout. That's why it's called personal training. For beginners, you could do this movement just starting on the ground as well. You don't have to plank walk to it. And yes, I'm going to have all my sayings. I'm going to be sounding like a broken record at times, but that's okay. I just want to drill it into your head that there's no universal right way. And as we approach the end of these static stretches, I'm going to preface with just a very simple layout. So I'm going to start going over some prerequisite movements for the core. Then I'm going to move into the next part of the body. I'm showing very basic beginner movements here to start your own program. This is just a baseline, a starting point. It's not law. You could change it up accordingly to your own body, but this is just a starting point, a baseline. So I'm starting from most regressed to progressed. So I started with a unilateral, one leg at a time. Drive the knee up towards your chest. Then I went to double, makes it a little more challenging. Right. Then I went to one leg at a time for keeping it off the ground, and then finally to double, to keeping it off the ground. You come close to the ground with your heels, but don't quite touch it. Next is a ground movement, a prone movement for prerequisite movement for your lower back and glutes. This is a good movement if you do have a sedentary desk job. You can move on to your upper body there, kind of squeeze your shoulder blades together and try to pinch them together. If you don't have much shoulder issues, you could start putting your arms out to the sides. You could combine the two. Right, so it's kind of like a squeeze of your whole posterior chain. You could extend your arms, extend that lever to the side. If your shoulders are good, you could put your arms right in front of you and make it kind of a swimmer variant. There are many different options here. And again, keep those reps 10 to 15, about 3 sets. Should be good to go for your back there. All right, you could do
Opposite arm, opposite leg, kind of like a type of bird dog variant. You can do a swimmer, which is alternating. You could change your arm position accordingly to what works best for you. If you get your arms more towards your sides, you could tend to squeeze your shoulder blades together more. You could alternate without squeezing your glutes. So if you have any conditions back there, that's a good option there. What I just showed is generally pretty safe for most people, as long as you don't have any issues laying down supine or prone. Next, I'm going to show some exercises in the plank and modified plank positions. Remember from before, make sure you have no issues in your shoulders, wrists, lower back, knees, or toes. Okay, you start off with something very simple with a shoulder tap. Helps you with that stabilization on one hand for a moment each side. Same with up, up, down, down. Make sure you don't rotate and open up your chest. Keep those abs tight. And you could also try a tricep move here. You could put your hands out further, press down through the palms of your hands, tap your elbows down to the floor, and press up. You'll feel that in your triceps. You could try a little movement, a little walk out with your hands, back and forth. Help you get used to strengthening your shoulder stability there. And then you could go into a toe tap. So moving down to the lower body now. Stabilize on your hands and do a light tap out to the side with your toes as much as you can, as much as your body will allow. And you could always move up to starting to transition into that plank position, that high plank position. So if you're on modified plank, this could help you practice getting into a full plank. Next, you could do a shoulder stretch if you need to. That's a good shoulder stretch right there. But you could also work into a pike, right? Make sure your shoulders are okay to handle this movement. And then if you don't want to tap your knees down, that's also an option, and that'll make it much harder than putting your knees down. So just keep that in mind. So kind of get to a point where your knees are close to the ground but don't actually touch. You could do a seesaw motion as well. The further forward you lean, the more you're going to feel it in your shoulders. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, you know the modified push-up. We've been over those. And then you want to go and make sure this next part, this is a very good glute movement, prerequisite movement. Okay, kind of like a mule kick, one leg at a time. Standing on up now, we're going to start with the squats. Very basic. Go as low as you can go. All right, it's very subjective, like I said. Just go as low as your body will allow you to go. You could even get a chair and practice sitting in the chair and standing back up. All right, do a little toe touch there. Practice bends. It's very similar to real life movements where you say you drop something, you do a rotational reach. Right, it happens to me all the time. I drop stuff all the time, so it's good to practice picking stuff up, especially if you are not used to those movements and moving around that much. Right over here is a glute bridge. All right, so breaking the glutes from a supine position rather than a prone with the mule kick. You can try one leg at a time through your heel if you can handle it. It is more challenging, obviously, than the double foot. For the next movement here, it's important to make sure your shoulders and your wrists are in good condition. Otherwise, you might put yourself at injury here due to the awkwardness of the position. So you're going to do a high glute bridge. So kind of like a crab walk position. Stay on your hands and drive your hips up as high as you can. You get them higher than as if you were on your back doing this movement. All right, if you really want to challenge, you could try to keep your hips up and do a marching movement while keeping your hips up. The higher the hips up, the more engaged the muscle group is, making it somewhat of an isometric. All right, you could also do a side plank on your knees, so it's not as challenging as on your feet. Kind of do a hip drop, down and up. You could do a reach through. Obviously, you want to switch sides as well. I'm just doing it this way so you could see it better. If you really want to challenge, you could try to go up on your feet, increase the lever size, Okay, again, you're going to start seeing more of the principles. This one I would not recommend. That one's challenging for even myself. You could do a clamshell instead, right? It's a lot better for your abductors and your adductors there, squeezing it through. You could even just do a little leg extension there, okay? Having gravity work it from the top. So there are infinite options in exercising, and that's what I want you to understand. But that could be off-putting to some people too. So just kind of pick one of the variants that I'm showing for each part of the body and stick to the 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps and then go from there. Try that 2 to 3 times a week and you just stay consistent with it and you'll be good from there. Now this section here, if you've never worked out in your entire life, I want you to start with this. This section is particularly good for seniors or people with many conditions but are still cleared to work out, especially if you are a bit heavier or if you have some issues with standing. Try this tiny workout first before you attempt any of the others from the ground. So just do a toe touches, 10 to 15 reps, very simple, then into marching. If you need to hold on to something for balance, please do so. And then into squats. Okay, again, you could get a chair to help you out. Just sit in the chair, stand right back up again. This is all just for your benefit. It's all going to help you. The more you do this, the more you'll adapt, and the more movements will feel more natural to you. Anybody could exercise, so I want you to ease into it with that. I have some more footage of other movements I filmed as well. I might as well include them too. So when I was training at BDX Fitness, which is the corporate park gym that you've seen clips of already in this video, I had a client who was a senior, an older couple. They were the sweetest people ever. They were so, so nice. This is one of the things I did with them. So they had trouble getting up and down in the morning. So from whether it be seated or if, God forbid they fall or something, this is good to practice. So I had them practice getting up and getting down from the floor. And that really seemed to help them. All these other movements here are basic other options if they have trouble with getting up and down from the ground. So it never hurts to try different things, especially if you struggle with certain movements. Feel free to try like even half getting up off the floor. So you can do it. There's nothing more freeing than being able to move the way you want to move. To do that seated would be to simply try a V-sit. Okay, so you get down here, put your legs out. All right, even if you want to start off with your arms behind you, you can. Okay, and just practice one leg at a time. Okay, one leg at a time. All right, eventually you get to a point you could do 2 legs. All right, you could just lift or crunch. Okay, there's infinite possibilities. You're not limited to one movement. It's what you can do to start, and you branch off from there. Okay. So another way you could do it, if you want to work the shoulders more, is to simply just put your arms up and hold. Okay. And trust me, if you hold this long enough, you will feel it. And remember what I said earlier in the video. You want to engage whatever muscle group you're trying to work. Okay. So if I'm trying to work my shoulders right now, my shoulders are engaged. All right, my scapula is pulled down and my shoulders are engaged. Okay, I'm actually trying to imagine as if I'm up against a fence right now. Okay, or even you can actually do that if you have something to lean up against. If you want to start there, you can. Hey guys, we'll get to the next section in a moment, but if you guys made it this far, this video took a lot of effort and time to make. It really pushed me beyond my comfort zone and challenged me, but that's a good thing. That's how we get better. So I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button and subscribe if you want more. It is free. My goal is really to be able to branch out and impact as many people as I can in order to help them reach their goals and
just get the word out there.
I genuinely hope this video finds you well and helps you in some sort of way. All right, back to the video.
Another thing I never mentioned yet was tempo. If you're doing exercise movements that require a movement in a concentric, isometric, and a eccentric phase, keep in mind the tempo as well is important. So you'll see a lot of people who are showing off exercising, right? Like pumping out push-ups like crazy, or pumping out really fast movements. That doesn't necessarily make it better or more valuable or better for your body. Same doing a shoulder press, right? It'll be easy to show. So for the first number is always the concentric or the shortening phase. And then the middle number is the isometric. And then the last number is always the eccentric or the lengthening phase. Right? The isometric is, remember, the not moving phase. So if I'm going to...
Hey guys, editing Mark here. So I'm not afraid to admit it. I totally remembered tempo wrong. So I posted this earlier in the video, and there's 2 moments of isometric contraction in an exercise. There's the top and bottom positions. So the tempo number is actually a 4-digit number. The first number is eccentric, the lowering. The second is the first pause. The third is the concentric, and the fourth is the second isometric. So a 3011 would donate a 3-second eccentric, no pause, 1 second concentric, and 1 second pause before doing the next concentric. So a 3011 tempo would look something like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1.
So experiment with the tempo, and you'll find that the higher the number, which means the slower you'll go, the more you're going to feel it, the more the muscle's going to work, the more contraction you're going to feel, the more lactic acid buildup there's going to be. The important part is if you feel any type of pain, any type of discomfort doing this, that's not the normal pain and discomfort for exercising. You'll know the difference. It's like a shooting pain or just something in your joints like arthritis. Avoid movements, especially in that area. Keep in mind too about polymetrics exercises, which is another fancy term for saying jumping movements and impact movements such as burpees and jumping jacks. If you have a hard time doing those movements because of your knees or conditions or whatever it may be, there are other options. So just know that you don't have to destroy your knees if you already have bad knees. There's always another option.
And this applies to any exercise you do.
If you feel held back by your age, weight, any other condition you got going on, don't be discouraged. There's always other options. I had a client I was training one time. He had scoliosis. He had multiple disc problems in his lower back and surgeries. He couldn't handle supine position. If you don't know, there's supine position, there's prone position. Supine position is when you're laying on your back. Prone position is when you're laying on your stomach. He couldn't handle anything supine, so I had to modify everything because of it. He couldn't handle a plank position or certain seated positions as well. So because of that, I had to modify exercises for his hips and his glutes to make that area stronger. So in turn, if that area gets stronger, then his back can get stronger. So remember, above all else, injury prevention is number 1, and tightening the bolts is important as well. If you don't know what I mean by that, basically, if you have muscle weakness anywhere in your body, if you work out add weight, add resistance exercise. It's only going to make those certain areas stronger. Hence the name, tightening the bolts. So it's the same idea. Think of your body as a machine. Think of your body as fuel. It's your number one source of mobility and moving effectively and being able-bodied.
With all of this in mind, the exercising with the least risk possible is isometric.
Don't think isometric is not an option. Isometric has a lot of value. I worked at a gym before where they had something called the FITT. So it was basically this machine where you could put your body into any isometric resistance position. It's hard to explain, but basically you really don't need that machine if you know what part of your body you're working and you know what muscle group you're working. So, but that'll make more sense as you get more into your own routine and you understand your body mechanics further. But I was also saying that another big advantage to calisthenic exercise, besides being low risk for injuries and accessible, is it's very sustainable, meaning that it's versatile and you could do it whatever you want, however you want, anytime, no matter who you are. So that's what I love about it the most. And if I don't ever feel like I need to be locked into a gym membership. Yeah, as long as you know what to do, your world is your gym. If I feel like doing 5 sets of push-ups, I could do 5 sets of push-ups anytime I want to do it. If I feel like working out, the earth is the world is my gym. So that's what's awesome about your body and your body weight. It's just a matter of knowing what to do, and that's what I'm here for. I could pretty much guarantee, I could all but guarantee that if you do what I've shown in this video, you will see results in some way. And it won't take that long either. Just realize that if you do initiate the changes that I've shown in this video, if you try to figure out a program for yourself, and even just 3 or 4 of these exercises, as long as they follow the proper formula and you do everything right, the form won't matter much. Obviously form matters, but when you're just starting out, if you go from not moving at all to doing some sort of movement, then you're gonna see a change from that. You want to strive for proper form and proper mechanics, proper body mechanics. Make sure you're doing it right. If you're not sure, stick to isometric exercise. That's the lowest risk possible because there's no movement involved. You could do unilateral. There's options. Unilateral means one side, so you just do one arm at a time, say, for a bicep curl or what have you. One curl, one leg at a time. All right, unilateral step, whatever it may be. Just the number one thing is to make sure you're safe. And if you're moving or doing something, if you're working muscles that normally do not get worked, you really can't lose, especially if you're not moving. So, and you just don't want to make it too extreme. You can't go 0 to 100. You have to walk before you run, and you have to listen to your body. You have to listen to the cues from your body. Okay, so just work slow. So I would start with, if you're not doing anything right now, start with like 15 to 20 minutes tops. Okay, just split up the body, 3 sets, 10 to 15 reps. Okay, doesn't have to be crazy. Start small, start slow, and the rest will follow. Just remember that a subpar workout beats no workout any day of the week. It breaks my heart to see people who struggle with their weight or struggle with their movements, their everyday movements, and I just want to help people out of that. I want to show people what to do and let people do the rest who want to make a change.
I love the fitness world, and I'm so excited to continue to share my love for the fitness world. So if you want more tips, feel free to check out my Instagram, because this video and channel was a long time
So if
coming.
you've never worked out before and this video had anything at all that resonated with you to help you want to continue down this path, then you are already finding success, and there will be success in your future. Life is about finding the small victories. In my experience, the hardest part is figuring out what to do, and with such a vast sea of options and information popping up in our everyday lives, you could use this video as a guide and a motivator and a starting point, a reminder, if you will, and I hope this video finds you well. There's a couple other side notes I could talk about with exercising, a little more advanced, but I'll dabble in them real quick. I talked earlier about the difference between resistance bands and dumbbells. I like cables a lot because the weight, I talked a little bit about how the structure of your body comes into account with dumbbells and bands. So sometimes you could actually combine the two and make them into one motion. Whether mostly that only works for pushing, though it doesn't really work for pulls, just based on how the muscles work. But when it comes to cable training, cables I like because the weight is constant the entire length, the entire range of motion.
As you can see here, also just changing up the angle of the anchor point where the weight is coming from changes the exercise completely.
When it comes to program design, I'll talk a little bit about that more for myself, if you're interested, if you even care. Right now, but like I said, I've been working out since I was 14, on and off, but I'd like to think it's been more working out than not working out. So throughout life, there's changes, obviously. Everybody goes through changes. So when I was in high school, or when I was 14, that's when I started. So my whole reason, big reason for starting was I did wrestling in high school. So at that point in time, I did exercises. I started off with a trainer, believe it or not, and we talked about exercises that may help me in wrestling. At that point, I had no muscle. I was maybe 100 pounds, all skin and bone. So at that point, any exercise was advantageous to me. So maybe that's a bad example, but basically it opened the gate to exercise, the exercise world for me. It gave me that passion. It gave me that fire. It gave me that interest and love for exercise that I have today. And I could never, I couldn't be more grateful for that. I'll use a better example. So a few years ago, probably around when my daughter was born, around like 2015, my brother-in-law and I were watching American Ninja Warrior, and we found out that one of the main guys, his gym was not far from us. So we went over there to try it out, and we loved it. And matter of fact, he's still competing to this day. He's very much into it. He teaches at a ninja gym, and I'm very proud of him. I don't really do it that much anymore, but that doesn't mean I don't like it. And so that really opened up the floodgates to other possibilities to exercise besides just general health reasons, right? There's so many reasons to exercise, and I loved the ninja training, and I loved obstacle course runs, which you'll hear all about in the future, I'm sure. I love myself some obstacle runs. But I'm getting off track. My point is, when I was training for ninja, I would do a lot of calisthenic movements, obviously, because that's all Ninja Warrior exercise is in training. It's a lot of pull-ups, right? A lot of body weight, a lot of pulls, really. So that's what really gave me my love for calisthenics right there. But calisthenics is just, it's endless. It's endless. So I want to show everybody how amazing it is and how deep it can get. But my program design at that point was mostly pull-ups and just different movements, because you need to be agile in ninja. You need to be quick. You need to be flexible a little bit. It's all about preventing that injury. It all goes back to that at the end of the day. What else was I talking about? Oh yeah, even using now as an example, I'm hiking. I'm starting to get into hiking. I'm starting to get into backpacking. So I got to make sure my shoulders are strong enough. I got to make sure my legs are strong enough. I've never really been a big leg exerciser. I know, never skip leg day. I know, I'm working on it. So now I have a reason to. Now it gives me a reason. It gives me that motivation rather than just exercising for good health or getting my doctor off my back or whatever it may be. So and it's so much fun, guys. It's so much fun. I cannot express it enough. It gets you outside. Even in the wintertime, I know it's like gorgeous right now, but in the wintertime, it gets you outside. It builds your immunity up, builds your lung capacity. You feel so much better in every possible way. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just explore it for yourself, and I'll be here cheering you on at the end of the day. And just comment down below what you guys do right now for exercise, if anything, and what you want to know about anything really, about program design. If you have a question about a certain condition, I'll see if I could comment back and see if I could help you out as best I can. So that's what I'm here for. I really want to help as many people as I can. I know I'm one person, I can only do so much, but I want to make a positive change here. I think I could do something good here with the knowledge I know, and I just want to show everybody the appeal to good health and feeling good in your own skin. I'm also thinking about doing a half marathon this summer as well. So I'm very excited for that. It's actually funny. I used to hate running so much. I used to hate running. I used to dread it. I used to be so slow. I grew up with pretty bad asthma. I still have it, but the more I started running, the more I started to love it. And now it's less dread for me and more therapy. Now I know I'm crazy, but don't take my word for it. Go try it yourself. And that's another thing, like, don't get discouraged. If something is so dreadful to do the first time, then that's normal. Like, you've never done it before. It's going to be hard the first time, but that doesn't matter. What matters is if you keep going, and if you don't quit, and you challenge yourself and see what you're made of, and build that confidence and build that strength. So anyway, if I'm going to train for this half marathon, I have to really train my slow twitch muscle fibers. There's slow twitch and there's fast twitch. I don't think I went over this yet. The slow twitch muscle fibers are the endurance muscle fibers. So it takes them a while to acclimate, and they help you with your endurance. I'm going to be very quick and basic. I'm just going to touch on this really quick. Slow twitch is all about your endurance muscle fibers, such as long distance runs. And fast twitch is all about your explosive strength muscle fibers. So if you're doing like powerlifting or something like a short burst extreme workout, that's going to activate your fast twitch muscle fibers. So I really need to work on my endurance, for speaking for myself, because they have been down since I wrestled in high school. So when differentiating between cardio and weightlifting, or weight training, or hypertrophy, or muscle building, or strength training, or resistance training, there's so many different names. The main difference, the big main difference, is the type of muscle fibers that are built from them. So when you do something like cardio, you're going to build your endurance, and you're going to build your overall health in your lungs, in your heart. That's why it's called cardiovascular, cardiorespiratory. Okay? So you're going to build that up, but in turn, you're going to build up your type 1 muscle fibers, otherwise known as your aerobic muscle fibers. Okay? These are your muscle fibers that have oxygen, right? Hence the Latin root of the word. The opposite would be your type 2 muscle fibers, known as your anaerobic, which means without oxygen. Okay, so your type 1 are focused more on longer duration, but less intensity, okay? But longer, at least over 10 minutes. Your type 2 muscle fibers, your anaerobic, are more strength-based. So they are gonna be more explosive. They're gonna be more shorter duration, okay? This is just a basic overview, but it's important to know that. That's the main difference between cardio and weight training, is those muscle fibers. That's why it's important to incorporate both, because you don't want a lot of one without the other. Life's a big balancing act. You want to have both to put yourself at the lowest risk of disease and put yourself in the best overall health. Okay? It's important. Also, in order to be coachable, it's important to be your own coach as well. So it's the stuff that you do when nobody's watching that really matters. And even for myself, it takes a lot at times. So keep that in mind. Don't give up and keep going. I'm currently half marathon training with Coach Bennett on the Nike Run Club app, and I couldn't recommend it more to anybody out there. One of the many things I've learned from him from my short time on this app, doing the guided runs with him, is greatness is already inside you. Coaching doesn't create it, it just brings it out of you. Think about it. Hey, thanks so much for watching, everybody. If you want to see another video that pairs well with this, click the video right here. See you in the next one.